Three, two, one, initiate.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Enter the Wolf Time. First thing I'd like to say is I am about 8 or 9 subscribers off being 500. So I am getting super excited, and I tell you something guys, when the 500 mark hits, there's going to be a surprise for you. It's time for the Commissar Yarick Fun Fact! And this fun fact comes from me today because, do you know what, nobody sent me in a fun fact last week. So yeah, I shall do one for you. Did you know that there are actually female space marines? It's just that none of them have any reason to leave Hades Hive. That's where Commissar Yarick is based, if you didn't know. So yeah guys, please send me in your Commissar Yarick fun fact for next week's show. In all honesty, I love receiving them and I love seeing what you guys decide to give me. So please make one. Doesn't have to be any particularly fancy. Just make a video, use a webcam, use whatever, and send it to my email address. It's in the doobly-doo down below. So without further ado, let's have a look at what I've been up to.
Okie dokie guys, well, first thing on the agenda today is I'm going to do the tutorial. Now, you all remember my gunslinger guy from last week. Well, a couple of you guys asked me how I did the hat. I don't know, maybe you guys have got some plans for some bandito orcs or something like that, or maybe some cowboy space marines, I don't really know. But I'm going to show you how to make him. Start off with a blob of green stuff like this. This is going to be a fairly large one, so you will have to apply this technique just to smaller amounts of green stuff. Okay, so what you do is you get your blob of green stuff and you turn it into 2 blobs of green stuff. What you do then is you make one of them actually that's probably a bit too big right there, so let's take some excess off. You make one of them a sphere, a little ball of green stuff, as ball-like as you can. Is that mixed properly? Yeah, that's about right, just needs a bit more there. There we go. So right, so you got your ball of green stuff. So what you do then, you use some water or something. So I can't really get in that glass; it's a bit too high. I know what we can do. Hang on, let's put some water in there, like that. It's always a good idea to lube up your green stuff. Use spit, water, Vaseline, whatever. Preferably not Vaseline because then it stops it sticking to stuff. So we're just going to waterize that up a little bit. Now with green stuff, sometimes it's best to wet the surface what you're working with. So once that's on there, we want to start making the lip of the hat, whatever you want to call it. So you find something to press it down with. Now I'm scanning my desk for some random flat object. Can't find one at the moment. Oh dearie me. Right, okay. Oh, here we go. Here it is. So it's something like that. That's just a random little purity that I made. We're going to wet this as well so it doesn't stick. And all we're going to do is we're just going to press it down like that. And it's a good idea to just keep picking it up and picking it off and wetting it again, because what will happen when you squash the green stuff down, it will push all the water, all the lubricant from underneath it, and it will just end up sticking to the surface. So we're going to wet that again. In fact, no, I'm just going to move it up like that. So, okay, so we're going to wet that again, and then we're going to wet the thing that we're using to push it down with, and we're going to squidge it down again like that. So we get. See, now it's stuck to this bit, which we don't want it to do. So now we've got roughly the lip of your hat. Now what we're going to do with this bit of green stuff, well, firstly what we're going to do, we're going to dry this off because we want it to be sticky on one side at this point. Now, the way that you do this, I mean, that isn't perfect. That isn't a perfect circle. The idea of it is not to get it a perfect circle, because it adds more character to the actual hat. It adds more, it makes it look like it's been through a few battles, makes it look like it's a bit battered. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to get this other bit of green stuff, we're going to size it up like that. So yeah, that looks like about right. In fact, again, let's take a little bit more excess off, like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a cylinder shape with this lump of green stuff. So what we're going to do, we're just going to roll it and squash it. It's good to keep this moist because otherwise it'll stick to your fingers and stick to all sorts. Now I'm just doing this quickly, you guys, with my fingers. I mean, ideally, if I was doing it properly, I would most likely use some latex gloves, because then I don't leave fingerprints in it, and nobody wants fingerprints in the green stuff. So there we go. So once we've got our cylinder shape like that, we're going to dry it off again, and we're just going to place it in the middle of the hat like this. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make a mark in it. We're going to make a groove. We're just going to make a line like that, because this is like, I don't know, cowboy hats seem to have a line like this in the middle of them. And again, you guys can take a lot more time and care doing this than me. Now then, what we're going to do, we're just going to turn the edges up like that. Simples. And that is literally how it's done. Sometimes if you want to squish the front of it slightly, oh, see, we've gone a bit too far there. There we go. You get the general idea, guys, and you'll end up with something. I mean, that one's probably my better idea. This is only because I did it quick and on camera, but you'll get a hat that looks like this. Now, when you're actually putting the hat on the miniature, be very careful. Don't do what I did in this mistake. Well, the first mistake was make it too big, but don't try and drill out the inside of it to try and fit it on his head, because it won't work and it will look stupid. The best way to do it, once you've got your hat, that's a really knackered one, that is, actually. But you guys get the general idea. What you want to do is get the head that you want to use. If you can find him. Oh, great. He's not got him. Oh, there he is. Let me just twist it off. This is the head for... Actually, I won't need to. This is the head for Damien Bloodhound, rather than Slick Devlin. So rather than trying to put the hat on it like that, which quite frankly looks wrong, what you want to do, because you want to get it just so it sits on the top of his brow like that, you want to saw off. You get your razor saw like that and cut off the top of his head, or use a really strong pair of clippers. Just clip it straight off flat, so that then the green stuff hat goes on it, and you want to just push it down. Obviously not like that, you guys are going to cut the top of the head off, but yeah, that is it. That is essentially how you make the cowboy hats. Yeah, so on with the next part of the video. Okie dokie, well, a couple of you guys ask me what kind of sculpting tools do I use when I'm doing all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you. I'm just going to gather them all in my hands. The first and foremost tool that I use is this one here. Now, I showed you guys this before. This is actually a dentist tool. My dentist at Christmas time kindly decided to order me one for free, and it's really, really nice. It's surgical steel, as all dentist tools are. It's got just a pokey, stubby end at one side, and it's got a hook end with like a blade on the side as well. Don't know if you can see that, guys. That's actually a little tiny blade, but really, really useful for like picking stuff and like getting around the corners of things. I'm making little marks and lines and stuff. That's really good for just when I'm handling things. Also, the middle of it here is very, very smooth, so I can sometimes, depending on how big the piece is use it to roll out a blob of green stuff to make it flat. Yeah, that's the first and foremost one that I use. I think you can probably get stuff like this on eBay, but like I say, I got this through my dentist. Right, the second tool that I use quite a bit is something that Van Hammer recommended a while ago, and it's this. This is a, I think it's a clay shaping brush. All it is looks like a paintbrush with or without bristles. It has just got a rubber tip to it, and it's really, really good for making lines and stuff. Really, really good for smoothing stuff out. You can almost use it like an eraser. So, say for example, if you have got fingerprints and stuff, I'll demonstrate on this lump of green stuff. So you got the fingerprints there. What you do, you wet it. So we're going to try and zoom in, and in fact let me just zoom the camera in rather than having to move my hand. So there we go, we've got the fingerprints in there, and you literally just rub out the fingerprints, and as you can see, it's starting to vanish. See, it's best to do this when your green stuff is slightly more hard than this, otherwise, like I say, if you're holding it, it just smooshes like that. But yeah, so that's what that's for. It's also good for like putting lines and putting folds in cloth, and if you don't want to touch anything once you've got it on there, it's good. I mean, I sometimes use it in conjunction with this and kind of just manipulate the green stuff with it, because it leaves no fingerprints. That's normally what I use to hold it with, and then this is what I use to shape it with and do all sorts. So I'm going to put that lump of green stuff down there. So that's those two. The second tool that I use when I'm doing green stuff, I don't use this tool an awful lot. However, I can't find where I had it in my hand 5 seconds ago. Oh my god, where's it gone? There it is. And the third tool I use sometimes is the dreaded Games Workshop sculpting tool. This is horrible. I must admit, it's £8. It's £8 for this tool, and really you're best off just using something else that you could probably find on the street. Comes with this glaive shaped end here. Now this actually comes blunted, and you have to kind of shave the edge to a point as well. The only thing I've found this good for is smoothing down flat areas on things. It also comes with this little stubby end here. Now this end I do find a bit of use for. It's good for flattening down stuff. So for, say for example, if you've got a little circle like that, and you just want to make good for like making coins or buttons or something, what you just want to do is get it, and all you do is literally press it down like that, and it just flattens it down nicely, because it's got quite a smooth area on it, so you just get little flat bits like that. So I don't use that one very much. The fourth tool that I tend to use is this, and this is what I primarily use for rolling stuff out with, or if I need to flatten down something larger, I can just go bump and just stamp it on like that. If I want to texture stuff as well, I tend to use this as well, because what I can do, I can roll this bit onto a chunk of green stuff. I can texturize it with stuff, although that lump of green stuff there is not allowing me to do it, but you can texture things with it. So if I want to do like a mesh flooring or something, or even mesh like armor or something, or padding, I can do that, and that makes a really cool little padding texture as well. Okay, the fifth and final tool that I use is simply just a blade, like this. Oh, I've lost it. Yeah, I've dropped. Sometimes use it in conjunction with one of these so I can actually properly use it. A lot of the time I just literally pick it up and use it in my hand. Now this is the primary tool I use for sculpting fur and feathers, because it's got a very fine edge to it, and you can just chop, 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 chop. I also use it for cutting things off straight and flat and leaving a nice clean cut edge. So yeah, that really is it in terms of my tools that I use for sculpting with. Oh, and by the way, the pin drill that I use for, I can't remember your name that commented on my channel page, it's just the Games Workshop one. The old Games Workshop one like this, because I find it a lot nicer and easier to use, and it's a lot smoother. Plus, you can keep other bits inside it and stuff like that. So yeah, that's just the old Games Workshop one. I do also use a Dremel as well if I want to drill bigger holes out, and this thing is a beast. Oh, it's not even on. Well, you get the idea. It's chunky, it's massive, it's huge, and it does bore really nice holes. So yeah, anyway, moving on with the next portion of the video. What I'm going to show you, let me just get all this gubbins out the way, is my progress with Brother Tears' conversion. Now, what I've done so far, I have done this to him. So I changed the head a little bit, I have sculpted some scales and stuff onto his shoulder pads. Yeah, and just like made it a little bit nicer, a little bit of a purity seal. Started sculpting some scales onto the cape and stuff like this, because it's supposed to be like a dragon skin cape. The only thing I really need to do on this at the moment is maybe do something to the backpack. Do this line down here, it's a bit tricky because it's got a groove in it. And what I'm thinking of doing as well on this bit, rather than just, because, let me just detach the arm. because it's just a bit raw looking at the moment, that having like that. So what I might do out of this dragon head here, I might sculpt some fire and incorporate the blades to look like the fire, which would be pretty cool. I've also, I mean, that's one weapon loadout. He's got a Stormbolter. A secondary weapon loadout is actually when Brother Tears wants to run him as Vulcanistan. So there we go. Because Vulcanistan has a flamer weapon, so I gave him a hand flame because I wanted this guy to look different. And also there's his spear. Changed the stupid looking end of the spear from the last episode, and it's actually just a power sword now. It looks a far bit cooler. So on that spear we've got some purity seals just wrapping around it, just making it look a bit nicer. It's got quite a nice dynamic feel to it, this has, because of the way the purity seals are going and the way the cape is flaring out and stuff. And again, we've got some more scales there. This bit here, I want it because his cape was just tucked in, and I wanted it to look like he's got something around his neck as well. So that bit's there. This is subject to change, really. Let me know what you guys think. On here, just added the Purity Seal. This is from the Grey Knight box. I just wanted something really long, just to complement his cape. And yes, I do know, by the way, guys, that is a Blood Angel symbol on the Promethium canister there. So that will be removed in due time. But yeah, really, that's all I really have for you this week, guys. Not done an awful lot, in all honesty. Just been chilling out a lot and minding my own business. So yeah, guys, I will see you all next week. Hopefully I'll have done more work. There'll probably be some painting for you next week. Some more conversions as well. So yeah, anyway, guys, have a nice day. See you guys. Ta-ra!
Relaxing, maxing out cool and shooting some b-ball outside of school. Well, no, not really doing any of that, but I have been relaxing a little bit. And my green screen has just fallen down. Fantastic! Blooper!